Hey ladies, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to make some short videos because I know a lot of you are like masters of these projects by now, but I want to give you a quick overview of this patriotic one that we're going to work on this month. So the first thing you're going to do is sand it. So I apologize, this has a lot of cut edges. I had to cut this down from a big board. And so you'll have to sand it really good. So you want to go all on the edges and make sure you don't have any splinters. If you get any little nicks that come out, it's totally fine. They'll all be covered, okay? So just take your time, relax, take out all of your stress, and get all of those little splinters off so you don't get hurt while you're handling this one, okay? And the next thing we're gonna do is blue, okay? So I'm just gonna show you a little bit of how I'm gonna do the blue, and then I'll let you finish that and I'll finish it. And then when it dries, we'll come back and keep going, okay? So for the blue, we're gonna do two things. First, we're gonna do the border. So since it's gonna be showing on our finished product, we want to go around this side. I kind of, on the sides, it really sucks in the paint. So I kind of just dab it a little bit and then rub it. So you can kind of see I got a really solid dark blue. So even though the tops and the bottoms of the sign are gonna be red, we're gonna do the whole sign in blue, okay? And then we'll just do the red on top of the blue whenever we're done with that. So for the front of the sign, I'm gonna kind of try to stay in one direction. So I'm gonna kind of go up and down as I'm putting this paint on here. Now, it's not gonna be super solid on my first coat. So my line of thinking when it comes to paint is always do a really thin coat, and then if you don't like it, then you go back and you do another coat, okay? So it's better than doing a super thick coat. So we'll start with a thin coat all over. So like I said, it's gonna look streaky, and that's okay. So we'll just kind of go up and down, and we want it to be, just get that full coverage as best you can without it being thick. Because if it's thick, you're gonna get paint texture and it's gonna be hard to get our vinyl to stick on there. So we want it to be thin, and we want to spread out this paint as much as possible. So if you can see, okay, so you can see that. So you can see it's pretty streaky, okay? But that'll get better as it dries. So I'm gonna continue on the whole board, so the whole front and all of the edges. I think your outer edge should only need one coat because it goes on pretty thick if you dab it and then rub it in. But your front, do the whole thing in blue, let it dry, and then do a whole nother thing of blue, okay? To make it nice and thick. So when you're done with that, just let it dry completely and we'll meet back up and we'll keep going. Okay, so I did 2 layers on my board. It's still a little bit streaky, but I kind of like the way that it looks, a little bit more rustic to me. But if you want a very solid look, then you want to go ahead and probably do a 3rd coat. You should have plenty of blue to do that, okay? If you don't want to do that, that's fine. The other thing is, I feel like it took forever for my paint to dry. It might be because it was very humid outside or whatever, but make sure that your paint is all the way dry, okay? So now we have these stripes on the top of your stencil, okay? These top 4. These are the ones that are gonna be on the red and white section on the top and the bottom of your board. So what I'm gonna do is I just laid the stencil on here. I kind of lined it up with the edge, and I'm gonna use a pen, and I'm just gonna kind of scratch at the very top of that stencil where it's gonna end, okay? That's just a way for me to measure how tall this stripe is, okay? So I did one little notch, and then I'm gonna move it down to the other end of my board, line up the stencil with the end of my board, and at the top, draw a little notch, okay? So now, I can see on my board where these 2 little notches are that I drew. And I'm gonna take one of my long stripes that's on the bottom of my stencil set, and I'm gonna lay it across those 2 notches to make a straight line, okay? So I'm gonna line it up with those 2 notches, okay? And I'm just gonna lay it across the top. So when I do that, I should have this section cut off right here, okay? So this is a 7-inch section, but it should just be the same size as my fat stripes, okay? So once I have that done, I'm able to paint my red. So I'm just doing one side of the board to show you, but you're gonna do both ends of the board. So there's gonna be red on both sides, okay? So now I'm gonna get my red paint. I'm using the lid of the can because, you know, just special like that. And I'm only gonna paint the top of the board, okay? I'm gonna leave the sides blue. When I'm painting right by the stencil, the vinyl stripe, I'm gonna touch the vinyl, I'm gonna pull away from it, okay? That's gonna help just eliminate leaking underneath the stencil. And again, I'm going to try to just stay in a straight pattern. Now, again, you'll notice that it's kind of streaky because when we get our first coat on there, it's never super solid. But I'm just going to go straight. Like I said, I'm going to leave the edges blue. So I've got this area painted with one layer of red. Okay, so now your homework, until we come back in just a minute, is you're going to do this on both sides. Okay, so measure your other end and make sure to use the fat stencils to measure it, mark it off, use the thin stencil to block it, and then paint the top part red. So like I said, I'm doing the top just red. If you want to do red all the way around, even on the edges, you totally can, because this thin white stripe is long enough. You could totally bend it down, and then you could just keep going if you wanted to paint the red all the way around. In fact, I think I might like that better. So I'm just going to be on the fly. Sorry to change my mind right in the middle, but I'm actually going to do that too. So again, I start with their vinyl and I pull away from the vinyl, and that way I try to have the least amount of leakage as possible. So again, I kind of just start where the vinyl is and pull, and I decided I was going to paint this part red too. Okay, so we have to wait now for this to dry so that we can do a second coat on here. So now what you need to do before we come back is let that dry, go to the other end, do the same thing, so you should have red on the top and the bottom, okay? And get your layers done. You can peel that stencil off. I'll show you that in just a minute. So go ahead and get that done, and we'll get back in just a minute. All right, now that your red is dry, the next thing we're gonna do is just apply our stripes. So these are easy breezy. I'm kind of wiping off my board, and I'm just gonna peel up one of these fat stripes, and I'm gonna put it all the way in the corner. So just line that up to apply it on here as straight as I can. All right, so I'm kind of just using my hands to put that on there nice and straight. All right, and then I have one more stripe for the top part. So I'm just going to try to make sure I get the spacing even. So these are 2 inches and you have an 8-inch total. So you're going to want to go 2 inches and then skip 2 inches and then put another one on here. So just put it on there and push it flat. You can use your little scraper card, or you can just use your hand. So you can see how that looks so far. Ta-da! Now, when I go to the other end of the board, I want to start on the opposite corner, okay? So I did that top left corner. I'm going to do the bottom right corner, but I'm just going to do the same thing. So just brushing off and then putting this stripe on. A little bit easier to do from above. All right, now I just push it on there. You know, if it doesn't go on straight, or if you don't like where it is, it's easy to just peel up and reposition that. Just rub that on with that. Now let me get my next stripe. Easy peasy. So again, I kind of skip 2 inches. And then I'm just going to put this next one on here where I like it. All right, awesome. So I've got those stripes on there now. All right, so wiping off this middle part. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting on my letters. Okay, so I went ahead and cut up my letters. So I have my 2 pieces. Now we just want to kind of make sure we get the spacing right and everything. So I'm going to kind of lay them out and kind of get an idea. Okay, so this is how I want it to look. All right, so I've got my little scraper card. It looks like I'm about to have, or I will have about, excuse me, an inch from the stripes to where the W starts, and then an inch, and then that's where the E is. So let me just go ahead and scrape my first section, which is my WELC. And I'm going to use that clear plastic to pick up my letters. So slowly peel that off. So this little blue part is trash. Now you have your letters right here. So just make sure there's no like debris on here. And then I want to get this as straight and centered as I can. So like I said, leaving about an inch spacing on the top. So again, I'm going to aim to make this as straight as I can and as centered as I can. But you know what? If it's not 100% perfect, no one's going to notice, especially once we add the stars, because I think the stars really help to kind of balance it out a little bit and give it a little bit you know, like little personality instead of just having to be 100% perfect. So again, I'm just scraping that really good and get those letters to stick. And then when I'm done with that, I'm just going to slowly peel. I always like to peel at a diagonal. I feel like that works better. If I have a letter that doesn't want to start sticking, then I just rub it again. Once that letter starts, once you start that corner, it's usually pretty easy to get the rest of the letter to go, but sometimes getting that first little part to go is, you got to convince it. All right, so awesome. So I've got my first set of letters. So this is trash, all this, get that out of the way. So now I've got my O, M, E. All right, so I scraped that real good. Let me pick up these letters here. And then I'm just going to just make sure that I line this up as best I can. So center it. And then I'm also just looking at the spacing between the C and the O to make sure that that looks good. All right, so once I have that where I like it, I kind of push it down with my hand first. And then I just use my scraper card again. Go over these letters really good. All right, and so once I do that, I can just peel the plastic off. So I just slowly do that because we're leaving this vinyl behind because this is permanent outdoor vinyl. So we can just use that, give us some perfect crisp letters. All right, so kind of knocking off my little debris I have on there. All right, looking so good. All right, so the last thing I have to do is add my stars and put my ribbon on with my wooden stars, and I'll be good to go. So. All right, we are ready to put our finishing touches on our video. I have my little helper. What's your name?
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. All right, so Ezekiel's going to help me. First, we're going to put our little stars on. So I'm going to put it on here, and then Ezekiel's going to stick them down. So these little stars, they're just stickers, and you can just peel them off and stick them on. So there's 7. So there's 1 for each letter. So I'm literally just going to just put it on, starting like on the side of my W. Okay, can you push down that sticker real good? Good job. All right, so let me grab the next one. I'm going to work my way down the side.
Why do you have to put them right there?
Because I think it looks cool. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, push that one down. All right, so we're going to just kind of go back and forth on each side of our letters. We'll keep pushing those down. You'll hear the chaos in the background. So, all right, so let me just keep rotating back and forth. All right, push that one down. Good job. And then right here. Good job. 2 more.
2.
All right, we're going to do it by our M. And our last one by our E. Get that one down. All right, so you can see these. There's no. Oh, it came off the board a little bit. Okay, good thing they can just be moved. Okay, so until they get real stuck down. So you can try again. Good job. All right, so I'll push those down so you can kind of see that they're just kind of spread out. Like you don't have to make them anything perfect. They're all just however you want them to be. All right, so now we're going to tie on our little.
They have a lot of foil.
Isaiah has a lot of foil. That's right. All right, so we're going to tie this on here. So we're going to go around, and we want our little, like, bow.
Why do you have to tie it around?
Because we want it to hang our stars, okay? So we're going to go right on the bottom of our red and white stripes, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to tie a little knot right here.
Let's turn off. We can't see.
We can't see?
Nope.
All right, I think we can. Hold on. There you go. See? All right, now that I've got this tied, I'm going to tie my little stars on here. So can you hand me the stars one at a time? So there's one. Thank you. Just going to tie that as part of this little piece over here.
Here.
Yep, I'm just going to kind of tie it in a little double knot. All right, next one. Next star.
Blue one.
Blue one. All right.
That looks like water.
It does?
Uh-huh.
It's pretty dark water.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of like a dark sky.
Yeah, even this one looks like fire and lava.
Oh, do you like red because it's fire and lava?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite color?
Lava and...
Lava is your favorite color?
Yeah, lava and fire.
All right, give me the last one. The lava and fire one.
Lava and fire one.
Thank you. I'm going to tie this one over here.
Where's the next one? Because look.
That's it. There's just 3. I'm trying to get it, loop it all the way over here to the side because I like kind of the little layered look. Alright, let me tie this on. Alright, watch out, Ezekiel. They got to be able to see. Alright, so now I kind of double knotted all of these stars so you can see you got a nice little layered effect. And then, so you can kind of shift this around if you want it to be a little bit higher or how you want that to be. And then you can trim these down, or you can tie them together if you want to create like a little bow. I'm going to see if it's long enough for me to do a little bow. Let's see, yeah.
Hey, Mommy, keep stopping and going on.
No, it's on. All right, Ezekiel. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got our little stars on there. We got our little bow. Awesome. So we're all done. All right, can't wait to see your pictures. Say bye, Ezekiel.
Bye.